people will point to the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. But if we look to that story, we see that it's not describing a same-gender, consensual, loving relationship. It's describing gang rape and is condemning that. But even more so, the Bible outright tells us what the sin of Sodom is. It describes it in the book of Ezekiel, and it says, "This is the sin of your sister Sodom, that they had pride, they had excess of food, and prosperous ease, but did not aid the poor and needy." Any other interpretation of what the sin of Sodom is isn't biblical, because the Bible tells us what the sin of Sodom is: lack of hospitality. Sometimes folks will point to the Levitical laws, but scholars note that it's actually really unclear what the Levitical laws are even talking about. They may have been condemning temple prostitution in Canaan. They may have been making a commentary on the fact that since inheritance was so important in the ancient world, every male sexual act needed to be able to result in an heir, and that's why lesbian relationships are not condemned in the Levitical laws. But it's important to note that the Levitical laws, by their own definition, only apply to Israel. They're only locationally and theologically bound. They, by their own definition, don't apply to 21st century American Christians. Sometimes people will point to Paul's writings, especially Romans 1. But it's important to realize that what Paul is writing about is the condemnation of exploitative relationships in Hellenistic culture, in which older men would often take advantage of younger men, and Paul believed that everyone ought to be equal in the body of Christ. You see, the arguments of the Clobber passages fall apart really quickly, but even if they didn't, the overall message of the biblical text is for us to love one another.